In this plane, there are trees as bony and twisted as a hag's fingers, pitch-black mold and moss, and a strangely murky sky. This is a place teeming with bizarre monsters one would never see in reality, monsters that, if one gets cornered by, will not think twice about consuming. If he dies here, like he just did, he wakes up from the dream. It has already been 12 years since this nightmare started, since he began experiencing pain that feels like he is dying. He doesn't go outside his house. Instead, he catalogs everything he saw in the dream. He can endure the pain of dying. It has become a trusted friend at this point. What he cannot endure is the lack of sleep. If he falls asleep in reality, he's sent back to that nightmare world. If he dies in the nightmare world, he gets sent back to reality. There was no way he could ever get a proper night's sleep with this. To stop dying in that hellish nightmare, he has mastered multiple forms of styles, weaponry, martial arts, swordsmanship, and even military tactics. He did everything he could for 12 straight years, and thanks to that, he started to die a lot less often in the nightmares, his senses having grown incredibly. However, the fundamental problem remains: sleep. The doctor just recommended to try and find something he wants to do, then he might be able to get a good rest. Unfortunately, the only thing he wants to do is fall asleep. He wants to sleep soundly, just once, in this sad, damn life of his. Suddenly though, his nose begins to bleed. A lot. Too much to be considered a nosebleed, and his eyes go to the back of his head as he falls, unconscious. He feels strange. His body is light, and that terrible headache he's been living with all these years is gone. It feels like fresh, clean air is filling his chest and head. He feels like he actually slept well. It's been 12 years. Did he actually die? Then, this place is it? Sure enough, he is inside the nightmare world he's suffered for 12 years. Before he can even get his bearings, he has to hide, as a large lizard with multiple eyes is stalking for prey. He knows that, with the amount of blood loss he suffered, he might truly be dead. If that is the case, if he dies here, there is no reality he can return to. From this day forth, this is his new reality. He does not know what kind of place it is exactly, and what he needs to do to survive. Given his situation, he shouldn't fight. First, he will head to a bright place that monsters hate. However, a slow, sadistic smirk grows on his lips, and he draws his blade. For some reason, he does not want to run away but rather fight. Is it because he fell asleep deeply for the first time in ages, or because this body is younger than his real one? The lizard, noticing the bite-sized morsel next to it, decides to charge in. He is not too worried. His entire body is screaming at him to fight and to survive. He puts his sword up and cuts the lizard in half, his eyes two pointed pricks of fury. He wipes away the blood on his blade with a swipe, and then carves into the beast's flesh, finding something akin to a core deep inside. He grabs it, and slowly begins to consume it. Until he is done, he promises to himself, in this dark fantasy world, he will survive, no matter what it takes. First though, he will have to go to a brighter place. He continues living in this strange realm. He enjoys the restful sleep he has been having. It has been 1 month since he crossed to this place. He continues heading from the pitch-black darkness of this forest toward the light. And just because he feels like fighting now doesn't mean he goes hunting, because risking his life for fun is simply madness. He watches as a big creature eats a snake, Jin thinking that he can't help feeling the urge to fight. The only times he does hunt, however, is when he needs food, and when he gets especially hungry. After taking down a creature, he does what he always does, eat its core, as this is the essence inside the monster's bodies, something he can obtain power with. Eating this gives him a chance to gain the monster's power. Ever since he started eating this, adapting to this place has become easier and easier. One more fact he discovered is that this body seemed to belong to someone with the status of a third-class mercenary. He is also surprised that he can read the writing here. This mark, this wood thing, suggests that people are living somewhere in this world, and he can see the light through the trees. As he continues making his way though, he finds an actual bear trap. This is human-made, meaning that there must be people nearby. He rushes out of the forest and finds a clearing through the forest, actually finding a homestead with a house and all. Surprised, he walks inside. Instead, he finds a book on a nearby table titled The Demonic Realm Chronicles. He opens it and is shocked by the contents. This is the history of this place, and the terms used are recorded in such a meticulous way that, for him to survive in this world, this book is absolutely necessary. Suddenly though, the owner of the home makes his way inside and points his crossbow at the man, asking who he is. He should answer him cleanly, or he will put a hole through his head without preamble. The man is glad to see someone else. However, does he mistake him for just a robber? He apologizes, telling him not to misunderstand. There was just a house in such a remote area. so he came out of curiosity. The old man tells him to get lost, as he has no quarrel with him. The man understands, however. By any chance could he possibly lend this book to him? He wants to read it. If he needs to pay a price, then he will. The old man asks what he will do if he refuses, and the man thinks that he absolutely needs this book to survive. If that is the case, then he might actually just become a robber. As he slowly pulls out his blade, he doesn't know how strong this old man is, but he doesn't feel like he would lose. The old man sighs and agrees. A robber wouldn't talk about wanting to read a book. It's nice to meet him. He's Hector. The man is glad to see that he has lowered his guard and introduces himself as Kim Woo-jin. Hector thinks that's a rather peculiar name, so Kim tells him to just call him Jin if that's the case. His name certainly must be hard to pronounce, since they're not Korean and all, but that book is precious to him, so he cannot just lend it out. If he wants to read it, he should stay here for a while and read it. In return, he would like some help with simple chores. Jin agrees, and so he ended up staying at Hector's house. Hector was gruff, but he didn't seem like a bad person at all. The first night, he handed him warm soup for the first time in a long time. He thanked the gods for this warm meal. Hector must be one of their angels. Hector goes out hunting when the sun rises, sometimes living for longer than expected. He said it was to take revenge on the monsters that killed his comrades. He looks like quite a strong man, so seeing him nervous means he must be against a considerably powerful monster. When Jin is alone, he reads the chronicles. All the stories begin with the Northern Empire. The king of the Northern Empire, blinded by greed, laid his hands on the otherworldly gate, which was said to hold the truth of all creation and immense power. It was just a Pandora's box, and on that day, the calamity began. Powerful monsters emerged from the otherworldly gate and turned the North into a demonic realm in just 9 years. In response, humanity united many factions to form an Order Alliance. The Order Alliance built a barrier to stop the spread of the demonic realm. Jin thinks about it. As suspected, there's a lot of useful information in this book. However, they say the deeper one goes into the demonic realm, the stronger the monsters are. Come to think of it, monsters got weaker as he headed towards the light, right? As he thinks, Hector charges back. Just how deep inside the demonic realm has he been wandering all this time, and how strong is he in this place? Hector is being chased by a bunch of wolves and one werewolf, it seems like. They all charge at him, wanting to end his life, and Hector, seeing that he is getting out, runs and stops and shoots 3 true bolts at them. The werewolf simply smashes through them with ease, surprising the old man. But as he continues running away, he sees Jin walking outside, wielding his blade. Hector tells him to run, as it's dangerous here, but Jin actually charges in, his eyes glowing a fiery red. He jumps up and arrives over the werewolf, who tries to grab at him, but Jin is too fast and cuts his entire arm clean in half before moving onto his body, swinging in an extremely wide arc. Seeing their master fall, the other wolves simply stare and growl at him. Hector is shocked. He took down a werewolf in a single slash. Jin is interested in only one thing, though. Is a monster like this considered strong? Hector asks if he is really asking if a werewolf is strong. He admits that it is, incredibly so. Jin understands. Then he will hear the rest of the details after he deals with the entire pack. There are a lot of wolves about, but they don't seem that strong. There are about 40, by his calculation, just enough to screw him over if he is careless. Instead of fighting all of them, he will slice the throat of the second one that looks to be second in command, considering the werewolf is dead and has shattered their morale. He looks at the red wolf, seeing its exceptionally large build and twin tails. He must be the second in command. He unleashes his aura, thinking that this is the one he must kill first. But the red wolf, seeing what he is fighting, kinda looks at the ground, then just simply dashes away as fast as possible, telling the others to do the exact same. The wolves, shocked by the cowardice of their second in command, decide to run away too, thinking that this clearly isn't worth it. Hector is shocked they actually ran away, those wolves who are known for their bravery and pride, noting that he sure knows how to assess a situation with that. They go and make the werewolf into a pelt. Hector guesses that at least 40 gold coins is the bounty on the head of the werewolf he killed. Jin asks if that's a lot of money, and Hector confirms as such. Enough to live comfortably without working for at least 7 years. Jin is shocked. Such a high bounty for such a weakling. But more importantly, if a trash monster like a werewolf has such a high bounty, then what about the stuff he defeated deeper down in the forest? Whenever he is in short of cash, he'll just need to find and kill similar ones, and he will keep raking in a huge amount of money. Perhaps life here might be easier than the last 12 years he spent not sleeping. Hector grabs a bunch of things and drops them in a group. He should take all of this and go to the Pioneer Village, as that place is the place marked on the map, and find a man named Jacob. He will buy that hide for a fair price. Jin asks if it's okay for him to give him something this valuable, but Hector notes that he killed the werewolf, so he is simply paying the price. Did he not tell him? He extends a shaky hand forward and thanks him for getting his revenge. He hopes they will meet again soon when the opportunity arises. Jin shakes his hand adamantly and thanks him for everything, as he really helped him understand a lot of stuff. With that, he leaves and begins making his way out of the dark forest. But the second-in-command wolf is watching, clearly mad that he was made to run away. Eventually, Jin arrives at the pioneer village, confirming his identity with a guard and walking inside. He sees that all of the people are simply staring at him. It's probably because he's a stranger they've never seen before. They are on high alert, but it's understandable in a world like this with monsters and beasts. The most dangerous thing can be people. He goes to the tavern in the village, ignoring everyone and sitting down with the bartender, asking if he wants a drink. Jin passes on that, and more importantly, asks if he knows where he can find a man named Jacob. Suddenly, the man on the other stool turns to him and notes that he is Jacob. What does he want from him? He explains that he was sent by Hector. He said if he met him, he could sell a werewolf hide. Jacob immediately drops his knife as he gets up and is shocked. Hector actually killed a damn werewolf. Jin is surprised. He's assuming Hector did it. But well, there's no need to correct him after all. Jacob checks it out and sees that it's an honest-to-God werewolf hide, making everyone whisper about it. Did that old man Hector finally do it? Jacob smiles though. As expected, he knew that bastard could pull it off. Immediately, Jin gets circled by a bunch of ruffians, and he asks what they are all doing. Jacob wonders if he can't tell by looking. He should get lost while he is asking nicely, and he might just spare his life. Jin sighs. Scammer faces don't lie after all. Hector sent him here because he trusts him. Has he always done business with this intent? Jacob tells him to watch his damn mouth. He simply made an investment. Hector was located extremely far away, and so supplying him actually caused a loss more than a win. He needs this hide to make up for all the losses he's accumulated, right? Jin stares at him, wondering if he should kill him. He really shouldn't though. He is pissed off, but he can't kill a person over a mere hide. This bastard should be glad that he is a nice guy. Before he can finish that thought, Jacob throws the beer he ordered at his face and tells him to try not to be clever and get lost while he's still nice. Jin says nothing, gets up and begins walking away, the others making way for him. Jacob thinks that he made a smart choice, but actually Jin went to block the doorway. He tells Jacob that if he intended to scam someone from the very beginning, he should have gone for the neck and not the back. Jacob laughs. He takes back what he said about him being smart. He really doesn't seem to value his life, does he? A bunch of Jacob's thugs charge in with their blades, but Jin is done holding back. Damn guys like them, he won't feel bad about killing them. He deflects the strike of the first thug, making his hands quiver, and then moves in, cutting him up twice. Another larger brute tries to unleash his mighty axe on Jin, but he simply gets out of the way and throws a table at the brute before slashing through it, proving that he is more than just a mercenary. Jacob is scared shitless now. Where did this monster pop out from? A fighter this strong in this area? There's no way he wouldn't know him. Whatever. At this rate, they will all just die for nothing. Jin takes care of a bastard trying to be an assassin and clashes shoulder to shoulder with a muscular brute before striking him in the chest and slashing him down to size. Seeing that he has no remorse over taking lives and the calm sense he has about him, Jacob orders everyone to run, and they all jump through the window of the inn, only to be met by the Red Wolf. What the hell is this monster doing in a village? Jin gets out too and sees the Red Wolf, wondering what it's doing here. Does it perhaps want to die too? The Red Wolf, seeing that he doesn't get it, whimpers and begins showing its belly, rolling around on the ground in a state of absolute submission. This confuses everyone, and Jin is rather irked by this unsightly behavior. However, if he understood it, he should be able to do this. He points at one of the men and tells the Red Wolf to bite immediately. He gets up and charges in at the man, sinking his teeth into the man's jugular and pulling everything out. Jin is impressed. This might actually be rather nice. The Red Wolf takes care of the other two men as well, leaving only Jacob. He wonders what he should do now. He needs to get out of this situation first. Since this bastard is a moron, he'll probably let it go if he apologized a few times. He gets on his knees and begs to be spared, as he will do anything he tells him. Naturally, he is already thinking of revenge. He will have this bastard's head sooner or later. In response, Jin puts the blade near his head, cutting through his scalp, and wonders if this bastard really is taking him for a pushover. In the past, when he said his salary hadn't come in, the factory manager told him to let it slide just this once. Back then, because he was soft-hearted, he had no choice but to accept. However, he should not have done that. Once he nailed down the salary that was a week late, It got delayed by a month, then 2. At some point, when he was asking again, the factory manager began screaming at him, noting that they should stick together, and that he was selfish. It felt really shitty living month to month, but he did learn a lesson back then though. Jacob, seeing that his back is turned to him, grins widely and pulls out a hidden knife, charging rather slowly at Jin. Thus, he just turns around and grabs his hand. Guys like him who scam do not know the meaning of remorse, so he shouldn't either. Jacob knows he can't do anything, and with a swipe of his sword, Jin takes him out, making his head roll in the air. This time, he will never be taken as a pushover again. Now that he is done with this, he should be concerned about this matter. What should he do with him? The Red Wolf hands him a pouch of coins he found on the bodies, and seeing that it's useful, he asks if he wants to tag along. The Red Wolf just pushes him gently with his head, seeking comfort, and Jin just pets him. He's a pretty clever thing, huh? Well, they will get along from now on then. Jin finds a spot to rest, an inn that can take a Red Wolf anyway, and is pleased that he got another perfect deep sleep. This is a morning so refreshing that he could feel he could fly. He begins stretching with a Red Wolf, and then goes outside to wash his garments and such. He thinks that he killed a person for the very first time, and it wasn't just 1 or 2, but a lot of them. However, why doesn't he feel guilty at all? Is it because they were scum? No. The emotion he felt back then was the same as when he was hunting monsters. It was that same thrill. There is definitely something inside of him that is starting to change, slowly but surely. Is he cursed or something? Well, he survived, so that's good, right? One thing is certain. His life here will be vastly different from his original life. He won't suffer absurdity, and live in abundance, and simply enjoy the present, whatever it brings. He walks away from the Pioneer City village to the 5th Pioneer City. First, he needs to sell the pelt. He tells the Red Wolf to stay nearby and keep out of sight while he is inside. According to the chronicles, to receive a monster's bounty, he has to visit the Order Alliance. It's said there's a branch of the Order Alliance here in the Pioneer City. He goes to the Order Alliance branch building and asks if this is where he can sell bounties. The clerk there confirms that this is where he can sell bounties. Jin puts the heavy pelt on the reception desk, noting that he is here to collect. The receptionist thinks that this is just some dog skin. This isn't the place where he can pull off pranks he knows. However, as he begins to unfurl it, he sees that it's an honest-to-God werewolf pelt. Did he catch this by himself? Jin confirms that he did so earlier. Naturally, he gets immediately invited inside and placed at a comfortable table. A few short moments later, another man arrives, apologizing for the wait. Given the amount involved, they had to make sure the pelt was real, so it took a little time. Since the pelt is genuine, this is the reward promised. He should check it to make sure it's right. Jin takes it. This is enough money to live lazily for at least 7 years. It didn't feel real until he saw it in person. He feels a trembling, which is different from the hunt. Money is definitely a good thing, no matter which plane of existence he's in. As he enjoys his spoils, the man asks if he wouldn't be interested in taking in another request. It happens that he has a favor to ask. Jin is pleased to hear this request. The man confirms that a monster recently appeared in a nearby quarry and is causing quite the disturbance. The quarry is dangerous because of the monster, so workers can't go in, and since they can't mine bloodstone, money isn't circulating in the city that well. The entire city is actually on the brink of ruin. They say it's a monster stronger than a werewolf, but he feels like he could handle it. Jin says that perhaps he can. What kind of monster is it? Mad Skull. It's a monster with a bounty of 70 gold coins. Jin remembers that he has read about Mad Skull in the chronicles, and it's also one of the things he has faced before. It has an extremely hard skull and insane aggression. It had toughness and strength incomparable to a werewolf or even 10. It's no wonder they are struggling. It took him a month to kill it for the first time, and he died about 28 times, if not 30. The man asks if he thinks he can handle it, and in response, Jin grins and confirms as such. It seems that his next prey has been decided. With this in mind, Jin makes his way to the quarry. He heard they couldn't work for a while because of that Mad Skull. However, the gloomy look of the mine creates a chilling atmosphere. It is definitely not a place he'd want to stay for long. It would be best to finish the job and go back as quickly as possible. As he makes his way inside, though, he is suddenly stopped by someone appearing out of a nearby tent. The man apologizes and asks if he could wait for his turn. They've arrived here first, and they were just preparing for battle, actually. Jin just kinda stares at him and asks, "Since when is there a queue for hunting monsters?" The man has no defense for that, so he asks if he could join their team so they can hunt together. Jin is impressed by his redirections, but he wonders if he should do that. If he waits for them to finish and that mercenary group succeeds, it would be a waste of time, but still, he doesn't need to fight them if it's just about the order. Even though he would have to share the loot with this mercenary group, it might be better to work together, right? However, it seems that he can't easily trust people around here. He notes that he has plenty of people. So why does he want to bring him along? The man notes that it's pretty embarrassing to admit, but he wants to prioritize safety over performance. He thinks it would be a big help if he joined them. He is strong, isn't he? Jin wonders why he is speaking formally all of a sudden. As expected, these bastards are fundamentally weak against the strong. He asks why he thinks he is strong, but the man just points at Red Wolf, noting that this thing wouldn't be following him if it weren't strong. Another woman who is petting Red Wolf notes that wolf monsters are known for their independence. Even the Order Alliance hasn't been able to tame them. It's amazing to see one following a human so well. Jin is surprised. He told Matt to stay hidden, so when did he come out? They offered him meat, didn't they? Meat cuisine of this world that he hasn't even tasted yet. The Red Wolf, sensing that his master is a bit iffy about what he did, throws the piece of meat toward him reluctantly. Jin is a bit appalled at first, wondering what this beast takes him for, but he can't deny the glistening of the meat. His body is reacting on its own. Come to think of it, when was the last time he had a real meat dish? Ah, but a dog was eating that, wasn't it? It was also on the ground. Can he let go of his dignity before he can pick it up? The woman stops him and notes that if he's hungry, he should have some for himself. Jin looks at her like a starving man. Perhaps this is a goddess he can trust. With this, they all go inside of the mines, and Jin enjoys the piece of meat. It's simply delicious. It has savory juices overflowing, and a spiciness resembling Sichuan cuisine. It's a taste that cannot be compared to the monster meat he ate to survive. The woman notes that they haven't been able to introduce themselves, right? The man introduces himself as Johan, captain of the Black Marlin mercenary group, and the woman introduces herself as Claire. Jin introduces himself as well, Jin, and the man notes that it's nice to meet him. If he has any questions, he should feel free to ask at any time. Eventually, they arrive at their spot. This is where they will be fighting the Mad Skull. He tells the trap team to set up the nets. He asks the spear team to move to their assigned post. He also tells Claire that they should get started too, right? Jin watches with a careful eye and sees that she is practicing magic, right? This is the magic mentioned in the chronicles. It is much more dazzling than the descriptions let it out to be. She begins chanting, asking in the name of Claire to send blessings upon this land, and casts Feather Step on Johan. He notes that her buffs are excellent as always, and he has 3 minutes at best, and 5 at the most. Jin is amazed. Johan, who seemed to be more like a slug, has suddenly become much faster. This is magic. Huh? Could he use it too if he learned? Another man notes that they can't dally. The Mad Skull will be here soon. If even one person makes a mistake, they could all die, so they should stay sharp. Jin was handed a spear too. This plan, driving the monster into a trap and pouring firepower into it, isn't bad. However, will this strategy really work against a Mad Skull? Eventually, Johan arrives with the lured beast and immediately gets out of the way, allowing the trap team to use a mighty net and pull, trapping the Mad Skull within. With that, the spear team takes position and throws their spears around, making the beast writhe in pain. However, this also causes it to thrash about, allowing the trap team to lose control of the net. Jin can see from his vantage point that this really isn't good. They are being overpowered. They all try to hold it properly, but even if there are so many of them, they can't seem to tie up the beast. Sure enough, the net breaks under pressure, and sensing magic, it immediately goes after Claire, who certainly won't have enough time to chant another spell. Before anything can happen, Jin gets in front of her and stops the Mad Skull with sheer force, holding the beast's tusks with his hands. Claire tells him that it's dangerous, and that he should get away, but Jin tells her not to worry because he knows how to take down a Mad Skull after all. Suddenly, the Mad Skull throws its head up, and then crashes the tusks down on Jin, who unsheaths his blade, and manages to deflect the strike. However, this causes his hand to quiver. He thought he had gotten stronger, but this Mad Skull, it definitely has incredible raw power. Suddenly though, it charges in again. Suddenly though, he feels a wave of magic around him, and he crashes into the air next to Claire. This must be that magic buff. His body feels incredibly light. It feels like he just put down a 30-kilogram pack he was carrying. He smiles. As with this, he should be able to hunt it much more easily using that certain method. Johan and the others arrive, noting that they will help too, but he tells them to stay back. As for now, this will be much easier to do alone. He begins to lead the Mad Skull away, who charges in adamantly. To defeat one of these beasts, one only needs to know a few things. Even if it's called a Mad Skull, it is basically just a pig or a boar. It runs fast in a straight line, but turning for it is incredibly difficult. First, he'll use that to stop it dead in its tracks, making it crash into the walls again and again. Suddenly it smashes so hard that they get out of the quarry, but thanks to the power the mad skull used, it trips and falls on the ground roughly. Jin is impressed by the power of the buff. It looks like it's struggling even more with chasing him. This is good. Now he must move on to the next step. Its tusks, which are as long swords, serve the same purpose as hands do to humans, but those hard tusks can't be cut with just one sword. In that case, he will aim for the boar's weak point, the nose. The mad skull immediately screams as its nose gets singed and cut in half, making it thrash about. The pain intensifies with every movement. It will become too burdensome to attack any further soon. With that in mind, he charges in, cutting the mad skull's joints again and again, not giving it any chance to attack and finishing the fight with a manic grin on his face. The others eventually follow him outside too, and wonder what happened. They should be finding Jin around here, but before they can make another move, the red wolf gets in front of them and lets out a low growl. Before yawning and looking toward its master, Claire understands he is basically telling them not to interfere, right? Jin eventually arrives, blood around his mouth, and everyone asks what happened to the mad skull. Actually, he was just enjoying a monster essence. He tells them that there's no mad skull here anymore. Now all that's left is pork. Johan is amazed. He actually did it alone. He has never heard of anyone taking down a mad skull solo. Suddenly though, the red wolf smells something and growls toward the entrance of the quarry. Another mad skull appears, with much shorter tusks but still just as mad. Johan can't believe that there's another one there. It wasn't supposed to be one. So he tells everyone to prepare for battle. However, Claire tells him to stop as she sees that this is a female mad skull, and it has piglets. Those piglets look around with worry, and the mad skull mother basically pleads with them using her eyes. With that, she just leads her piglets away, leaving their defeated father to his fate. Claire guesses that they must have been planning to raise their young here, making them feel kind of bad. Anyway, they are all glad it left peacefully, although Jin doesn't really know what to think. That night in the 5th Pioneer City, they rent the entire tavern, and Johan thanks everyone for their great work without anyone getting seriously injured. He can't tell them how happy he is that they caught the mad skull. Now it is the highlight of the hunt, the flower of their labor. Actually, it's settlement time. Everyone cheers, and Claire looks at the bags of money before her. Wasn't there a word supposed to be 70 gold coins? But this looks way more than that. Johan laughs and notes that it's thanks to him making a fuss over it. It wasn't just one mad skull after all. There were two, and even piglets. Since the job was much more dangerous than the information provided, he demanded a bigger reward. Naturally, what is in front of them is a whopping 110 gold coins. Jin is a bit confused though, as they did not fight the mother, and they still gave that money. Johan just smiles sharply at him, and notes that he told a little white lie. The others give their thumbs up, as expected of their captain. If they don't get caught, then it was the truth all this time, right? Jin sighs, finding them rather interesting, and Johan puts a hand on his shoulder, noting that he wants to give half of the earnings to Jin. Nobody has a problem with that, right? Jin is surprised. Really? Half of it? Johan notes that if it weren't for him, they would have died a dog's death, so he should accept it gracefully. Since the base reward went up, there is enough for them to split, and it's what they all want after all. He can see it on their faces. They were actually a pretty big help for him too, it seems. Not everyone here is bad. He picks up his drink and thanks them all in return. He will pay for all their drinks tonight. Everyone cheers for him, and they begin to chug barrels of beer. But suddenly Jin sees Claire going somewhere. He asks what she's doing, and she explains that she's going to practice some magic. Interested, Jin follows after her, and sees her practicing her mana with her hands out. For some reason, she must be really tired. Training right after a hunt is really impressive, but should he try learning it too? That morning, as they pack up the spoils to be sold, Claire asks if he really wants to learn magic. If he does, he shouldn't worry, as she can certainly teach him. She actually wanted to give something as a gift anyway. When the mad skull charged them, he saved her, unlike a certain someone that's next to her. Teaching him magic is the least she can do. If a mercenary group that doesn't even protect their mages, which is one of the basics in combat, asked her to teach them, she would naturally refuse. But Jin is different, isn't he? Johan intervenes, noting that magic isn't something one can learn overnight, right? They have to leave this village in 2 days. Anyways, Claire continues pouting and tells him that Jin can come with them, but Johan left wondering why a strong monster hunter like him would follow some mercenaries like them. A brave wolf is usually most comfortable alone. It would be rude for the likes of them to intrude on his great journey. Jin just kind of stares at him, as it's not really like that. He doesn't have anything to do. This guy is making him feel like he has to save face for no reason. Should he tell a little lie too? He clears his throat and asks what their next destination is. Johan explains that it's the 4th Pioneer City. He heard there is a big job over there. Jin seems lost in thought for a moment and explains that he actually was planning to go there too. Perhaps he could accompany them and learn magic on the way, right? Johan and Claire nod at each other, glad to see that their strategy worked, and they immediately clap him on the back, noting that it's a real coincidence. It's great for them to have a reliable ally like him, right? Jin just smiles, noting that the next destination has been decided. They begin walking out of the Pioneer City and are accompanied by a Tarask, a monster which has undergone selective breeding as a means of transport, and it's one of the few monsters tamed by humanity. Jin has read about them in the chronicles. It seems they used it as a pack animal instead of horses. It's absolutely massive too. Johan tells everyone to keep going, as they have a long way to go. That night, Jin tries to learn magic with Claire. Learning something new is always difficult. At first, there are a dozen reasons why learning is hard, but the hardest among them is the one requiring repetitive effort in any task. There are parts where growth is only possible through constant repetition. However, growth in that area is naturally slow and can even stagnate in some cases. Repeating the same thing during a plateau is very painful. However, he is used to the pain and very patient. The 12 years of pain he has endured to survive in the demonic realm have made him grow even tougher than before. He just needs to repeat it until it works. And one night he begins to see the magic around, something he is getting used to already. Claire claps as she sees this. He just succeeded in feeling the magic. Jin guesses that was mana. To think it took 10 days just to feel mana. It certainly is a difficult step. Claire notes that, if she is honest, he is a little, well, a lot, on the slow side, but it's still pretty good. Some people with absolutely no talent could even go their entire lives without feeling mana. Now they will move on to the second stage. She takes out a vial of something blue and pours it in a goblet before telling him to undress and putting on a glove. Jin grumbles about this but does so, and Claire begins painting something on his back. Jin asks what she is doing, and she explains that she can inject mana into his body with this. She is basically making a path. When it's all done, she notes that she will be injecting mana into him now, so he should try to feel it pretty well now. Jin agrees, and Claire begins making him immediately feel a surge of mana all around him. It's on a totally different scale than what he felt earlier. It's deep inside his body. He can feel something thicker than even blood flowing. Claire asks if he can feel it, and he confirms as such. He feels something flowing in his body, an incredible power. Claire explains that he has taken the first step to using magic. There are 3 basic stages of learning: feeling mana, storing mana in the body, and utilizing the magic. Since he has succeeded in the first stage already, they will move on to the second stage. She will control the mana and send it towards his heart. What he needs to do is use the sensation of holding his breath to create a vessel in his body to store that magic. Jin understands and begins concentrating as he does so, allowing Claire to start. However, as soon as she begins doing that, she sees something, a mighty praying mantis feeding on beasts. As it turns to face her, she sees that it has hundreds of eyes, all predatory and gleaming with ancient power. Claire is shocked to feel such an ominous energy, but this can't be. Before she can wonder who or what it is from, her mana begins to get sucked in through Jin's new core. At this rate, all of her mana will be drained, and she won't be able to do anything before that can happen. The red wolf uses one of its tails and drags her away, putting her down gently. Claire is shocked. Did he sense she was in danger and came to help her maybe? Jin is a bit concerned too, as she falls to the ground and asks if she's all right. Claire doesn't say anything, catching her breath. What she saw earlier was his mental world. It's when a person's power and nature take shape and appear in the form of a world. Since it depends on the life that person has lived up until now, the mental world varies by person. But for such an ominous presence to exist in his mental world, what could be the reason? She knows only one. She gets up slowly and tells Jin to please answer honestly. Did he perhaps ever ingest an internal core? Jin asks what she means, and she explains that she means the crystal found inside of a monster's body. Jin calls them monster essence actually, and he confirms that he has eaten some of them. Claire is increasingly more worried now, and asks how many he ate. Jin doesn't really know the number. He has started eating them as he started hunting monsters, so he's been eating them constantly for about 10 years. If she's asking for a number, it could be thousands or tens of thousands, but why? Is that some kind of problem? Claire naturally agrees that it's a problem. If a human eats an internal core, then they either die or turn into a monster themselves. Karma, which is also known as retribution, is the name of the turbid energy found inside the demonic realm. The living beings that absorb it gain bizarre abilities in their body, and the monster core is a nucleus formed by that karma which has been accumulating in the body. As they continue walking and Jin talks with Johan, Claire is bothered by what she knows. The Dark Priest, that's what she's thinking about. When the otherworldly gate opened, and that karma swallowed the world, there were humans who followed the monsters that absorbed the karma and began calling them angels. Those guys ate monster cores. Some even sacrificed humans to monsters. They were madmen. Jin has told her that night that he had eaten monster cores, and a lot of them. Could he also be a dark priest? However, that really shouldn't be the case. If he were a dark priest, he wouldn't admit to eating monster cores that easily, nor show her his mental world, right? But is that not a stranger? Even if he didn't know monster cores were dangerous, why is he going around and eating such gross things like their cooked eggs? He truly is a mysterious man. Jin, unbeknownst to her, saw other monsters eating monster cores and began copying them. She grabs his attention, noting that whatever the case, he must stop eating monster cores from this day forward. He is lucky he is still alive, as he could have really died. Jin wonders if that's so. She is saying that eating monster cores kills a person, but there's a perfectly fine living witness right in front of her. Is that information wrong? If it's correct, then is the fact that he felt nothing after killing those people and the fact that he keeps wanting to fight because of the monster cores. He walks forward, noting that he will try, but Claire isn't satisfied with that. He should absolutely stop and never touch them again. If he keeps eating monster cores, it's not just his life that's at risk. He won't be able to use magic either. This shocks Jin. Really, he won't be able to use magic. Claire can't believe that that's what got his attention and sighs. In his current state, it will be difficult to use mana manifestation, but he shouldn't worry too much, as at least he should be able to use mana arts eventually. They arrive at a fourth pioneer city where everyone is gathered up in the plaza. There are so many mercenaries gathered around here. Claire tells him that it's too early to be surprised. The scale of this request is one thing, but it's also being overseen by a holy knight, Raymond of all people. Jin is rather impressed by him. He's got an intense aura that can't be compared to mercenaries. He can tell from a glance that he is no ordinary human. Do a lot of people usually gather when a holy knight is in charge? Claire explains that this is because it's a request from the golden bug wolf. Jin is happy to hear that golden bug. Is it like an insect-type monster? Claire asks if he really doesn't know about the golden bug, but Jin just acts confused. Johan explains that the golden bug is the greatest businessman. He's a tycoon with so many assets that he is considered one of the richest people in the entire world, basically. However, he suddenly died recently too. Jin asks if he was killed, and Johan notes that there are rumors like that, but nothing is certain. Jin doesn't understand, though. If he is dead, why are so many people gathered around again? Johan explains that the golden bug has two sons. Since they have inherited the golden bug wolf legacy, someone has to move the two sons' fortune inside the barrier. That is the request this time. Jin understands. Moving the fortune of a tycoon, no wonder so many people gathered around. Suddenly their names are called forward from the tent. The black mercenary group should present themselves at once. Hearing this, Johan catches Jin by surprise, and notes that it's an important moment. He should come with him for a second though. Inside, Johan presents Jin like he's a gem, noting that this is their mercenary group's top power. This is a person who caught a mad skull and even tamed a wolf. Outside, murmurs are being heard. They have heard of this rumored mad skull crusher, but he doesn't look that strong. Jin asks what nonsense this is, and Johan tells him to put up with it for a bit, and things will go well. Good is good, right? Raymond looks at them a bit sternly, and notes that they will be awarded 100 gold coins. They will depart tomorrow as soon as the sun rises, so they should keep that in mind. Johan immediately celebrates, and Jin asks if they are really sparing 100 gold coins just to move luggage. Johan confirms as such. That's how this field works after all. Half is for the labor and half for the name value. That's the way the hiring fee is set. Thanks to his great name value as the head crusher, they got a great rate. Jin wonders what that name even means, and Johan explains that it's simply the name attached to him. It means he crushes the heads of the monsters he faces. Whoever came up with that has a terrible naming sense, but it's a good thing, right? This level of fame will help him in learning mana arts as he wants to. In the mercenary group quarters, they seem to be holding a type of brawl in the arena, where people are enjoying drinking. Claire asks Jin if he will be alright participating in this, but she was the one who said holy knights use mana arts well. He plans to draw their attention and learn mana arts this way. She shouldn't worry too much, as he has something in mind. According to the chronicles, holy knights are beings who feel interest when they see someone strong, and if they acknowledge one's strength, it is said one can receive good treatment from them. That won't be too hard for him. He faces his opponent and thinks that this is an arena where they fight while risking each other's reputations. He will draw the Holy Knight's attention here. His first opponent moves in a boxing way, but Jin just weaves his jab and punches him in the face before using his own body as a pillar to smash his head. The people think that the head crusher is living up to his title, and opponents gather up to fight him. Jin, however, just looks at Raymond, as he got his attention. However, although he can't be satisfied with just his attention, the real fight starts now. To make the Holy Knight take him seriously, he needs to defeat more and more guys. If he defeats 2 or 3 like that, he'll wonder where a guy like him came from. But when he defeats 10, it will get more interesting. If he's a real knight, he will think something like this. He would want to put his apprentice knight against him, which is Rex, who doesn't really want to fight a mere mercenary. When that moment comes, that's when Jin springs the trap. He refuses, as that's how the negotiations to learn mana arts begin. Everyone is shocked as they hear him refuse, and Rex himself is pretty mad. Why would he refuse? Raymond, however, remains calm and asks if he is hurt anywhere. Jin says that he is not, so Raymond doesn't understand why he is refusing the duel. Jin explains that he is a mercenary after all, a mercenary who chases after money and fame. Since someone like him is fighting a Holy Knight's apprentice, he can't just fight for free, can he? So he wants to make a bet. Raymond explains that for a bet to go through, they must both have something they want from each other. Is there anything they could ever want from him? Jin agrees that while he might not be a grand enough figure to boost his reputation, he does have an ungodly amount of money, as he can see. Everyone cheers as this guy really is a crazy bastard, suggesting to gamble with a Holy Knight who lives and dies with honor. How lightly does he take them? Rex gets immediately annoyed, but Raymond clasps a hand on his shoulder and notes that they do not need money. Instead, during the fight, they should agree to waive all liability. That is all they want. Jin is glad that he won't have to pay a settlement. He can beat him up as much as he needs to. He accepts and notes that he will tell him what they want after the duel. With that, Rex descends down to the arena and looks at Jin with a very murderous intent. Everyone cheers for Jin as they bet their entire forces on him, and Claire tells him to give a signal if it gets too dangerous. Jin tells her not to worry, as he will win. Rex asks how far he should go, and Raymond tells him to give it his all. This guy certainly won't be an easy opponent. Immediately, Rex activates his mana arts, which everyone notices, and out of nowhere, appears in Jin's face, who is pretty surprised. His speed is definitely on a different level from those other small fry. It is a refined and powerful force. He gets out of the way before the strike can land, and thinks that if he takes a clean hit from something like this, he could actually die. These are mana arts, huh? It is very interesting. Rex, however, doesn't give him the chance to recover. He lets out another strike, which Jin has to block, but it sends him skidding on the ground. He said his name was Jin, right? He might be a renowned mercenary in the demonic realm. However, in the end, he is just a wild beast. He will make him regret looking down on the Holy Knights. The people around are confused. The Crusher is being pushed back. Even as an apprentice, a Holy Knight is on another level entirely, it seems. Claire is kind of worried for him, and Raymond says nothing as they continue to fight. However, seeing Jin, he gets a strange feeling. That man, when he fought the other mercenaries, he didn't drag it out and took them all out in one strike. Yet his movements right now are extremely passive. Could it be that he has something up his sleeve? As Rex performs a long-range infused punch, Jin just deflects it, making it dash into the wood around. Johann is shocked. He deflected a Holy Knight's mana arts. Is that even possible? Jin wipes the blood off his mouth, thinking that with this, he is done measuring his combat power. Now he will check his durability. He closes the distance immediately and slams a fist into Rex's chest, confusing Raymond. He got hit by a normal punch, but he is making a face like that. Is that man? He wasn't really going for an opening at this time. He was just savoring the fight, seeing Rex catch his breath but still on his feet. Jin is glad that he is enduring it. It's all thanks to those mana arts, right? He is curious just how many hits like these he can endure before he falls down. However, before they can continue, Raymond gets in front of Rex and stops the fight, noting that it's their loss. They will grant him whatever he wants, as promised, so they will end it here. Jin is kinda saddened, as he was just getting started. That was a buzzkill, but still, his plan was a success. Everyone cheers for the head crusher, as they always believed in him, and didn't doubt him like 5 seconds ago. At the Golden Bug Wolf Mansion, the first son, Derek, and the second son, Cedric, are eating like pigs, and looking like them too. Cedric asks if it's going to take 10 days to get inside the wall, and Derek, damn those bastards from the Order Alliance after all the money they've dumped into them. How could it take 10 days? That's just how these bastards operate. After all, They've always been all talk and no substance. Cedric wonders if it will be all right until then, but Derek feels there's nothing else they can do. They just have to pray their bodies hold out until then and keep their hunger at bay. Mana arts utilize mana like a part of the body to enhance one's weapon and body. Anyone with a bit of talent can use it. However, depending on one's proficiency, it's said to be a basic technique capable of splintering mountains and seas. For example, what Raymond is doing now is the sacred fire slash, and he cuts 3 trees down at once. Rex claps at him. As expected, he is truly amazing. He is simply radiant, the hope of the Holy Knights. How can he be so perfect? Raymond tells him to relax, and Rex immediately understands, leaving and telling him to keep up the good work. Jin is kind of reminded of his own mutt, seeing him, but anyway, is that a proper mana art? It definitely looks stronger than what that apprentice knight used. Even so, shouldn't he be able to do this much even without a technique? Raymond notes that he's shown him firsthand, so he should focus again. When he flexes his arm, the veins pop, and the muscles contract. He is holding the mana within the muscles. Jin is used to it up to this point. It's similar to what Claire taught him. However, he suddenly sees that a lot of mana is flowing through his body. Since when did he have this much inside of him? It's a calm and light flow of mana. Is this Claire's mana? Suddenly, though, the mana begins to turn dark, unbeknownst to Raymond, who explains that he should gradually consume that mana and move his body. Firstly, though, he feels the dark energies and turns around, seeing that Jin is actually using mana arts right after learning it. But, more importantly, what is that ominous mana? Mana arts take their color and form based on the influence of one of the user's mental world. But to have such mana that feels so ominous, just what in the world could be inside of him? Jin is pleased and immediately gets to practicing slashing in wide arcs to let the mana flow. He wonders, though, is it because his proficiency is low? It feels pretty inefficient compared to the effort required. However, it does look pretty damn cool. As they continue their journey, Claire is pleased to hear that he has already mastered mana arts. It couldn't have been easy. That's really amazing. Jin notes that it's all thanks to her, and asks if she is all right. When she first helped him last time, it felt like her mana went inside of him. Claire doesn't know what to say. She says she's fine. He saved her before, so he should consider this a gift. Jin sees her trying to be courteous. That was probably too much mana to just brush off, but thanks to that, he picked up mana art quickly. Suddenly, Rex arrives next to him, finding it unbelievable that he is rejoicing over learning just the basics. He shouldn't slack off in his training to take time out of his day for someone like him. He should never forget the grace of his lord, Raymond. Jin and Claire just look at him, both wondering why he is spouting bullshit. Is he, perhaps, still salty about losing yesterday? However, this is perfect. He was just getting bored anyway, so he should bruise his ego a bit and pick a fight. Before he can, Raymond smacks the butt of the horse Rex is riding, causing him to run off. He tells Jin to please understand, as he will try to keep him in check. Suddenly, they hear a bunch of screams coming from the Golden Bug brothers, calling them idiots, as they are hungry. Jin notes that it looks like something is going on there, but Raymond tells him not to pay any mind. It's just the usual power trip from the employers. Jin asks if he means the Golden Bug sons, and Raymond confirms as such. Since they're fathers, they haven't stopped themselves from binge eating. If their meals are delayed even for a moment, they will throw tantrums. It just gives one a headache if he cares, so ignoring them is the wisest answer. Jin finds it too strange to be just stress-induced binge eating. He has a bad feeling about this, and the more food they send away that way, the stronger it feels that energy, that it feels like a monster is about to burst out. Sure enough, one of the tortoise-looking monsters that was carrying them begins to scream out, and suddenly lands with its jaw open on the ground, completely and utterly spent. Raymond asks what's going on, but they don't get it either. The Tarrasque carrying their client suddenly started rampaging. Raymond is shocked, and immediately calls Rex before using his mana arts. He explains that their client is their top priority, so they should count the Tarrasque down, even if they have to kill it before they can do much. Though a bunch of jagged tips appear from the sun's tent, and a horrifyingly morbid thing drops down. Claire immediately recognizes this as an abomination. It's a human who turned into a monster because of the demonic realm karma. That is what an abomination is. Jin finally understands why he was feeling that pressure, and Raymond holds his breath before jumping off his horse and unleashing a sacred fire slash, immediately cutting the beast in two. He then screams at Rex, who uses this momentum to cut the beast in four, leaving it crumpled on the ground. However, it slowly begins regenerating, unbeknownst to everyone. Raymond tries to get Rex out of there, but he is not too quick, and the beast lunges at him, swallowing him whole except for his arm, which is completely cut off. Everyone gasps in shock as Rex's arm flies in the air, and Raymond, filled with justified fury, unleashes another sacred fire slash on the abomination, putting it to the ground with a thud. He begins to dig around in the monster's remains, trying to find Rex to make sure that he doesn't bleed out. But suddenly, a bunch of tendrils from the beast's other appendages appear, and they all strike at Raymond at the same time, who is none the wiser. Seeing this, Jin steps in, grabs Raymond, and slashes the tendrils away before putting him down. Although he's still injured, the others are shocked. The Holy Knight himself is down. Are they just going to die at this rate? The abomination begins to reform itself, and Jin thinks about it. This is a human who turned into a monster. If he keeps eating internal cores, will he end up becoming something like this too? But worrying about it right now won't solve a thing. First, he needs to get rid of this bastard and then think about it. As he moves, he thinks that the abomination has incredible digestion and endless regeneration, and at this rate, this will end up becoming a battle of attrition. While saving his stamina, he needs to find a weakness. As he continues cutting, the beast throws him away with a tendril, hitting him roughly in the chest, but not a debilitating injury. It's still annoying. Johann unleashes a spear and notes that they will help too. Claire also unleashes her magic and buff the weapons of their spearmen. Thanks to the magic, the regeneration seems to be slowing down. They can actually do something. Jin is pleased and smirks. Not bad. He thought they'd all be scared out of their minds right now. Seeing this though, the abomination gets up, and Jin feels a change in energy. Suddenly it roars, and two faces appear on the abomination's shoulders. The faces of the golden bug sons. The abomination lets out a bunch of tendrils again, and sucks them into its removed flesh, dragging it back with a slow and regurgitating manner. Jin tries to stop it, but the abomination simply slaps him away, and using one of the screaming faces tries to cut him up, but he dodges and weaves just in time. Johann asks if he is alright, and Jin is, but they should all be careful, as this thing just got stronger. Johann wonders what they do now, and Jin guesses they just have to keep hacking away at it. If they keep cutting, eventually only the internal core will be left. The problem is the regeneration speed. Johann notes that if this is his issue, he shouldn't worry. Just as it got stronger, they've learned its attack patterns too. Jin understands. If that is the case, then he will slice it up to his heart's content with these mana arts. He charges in again, slashing tendril after tendril with his dark power, and continues driving his blade into the abomination. He tells everyone to stop it from regenerating, and as he keeps cutting away, he eventually finds the core, which tries to hide itself, but Jin knows it's over. He cuts the core in half in a wide slash, ending the fight, making everyone hold their breath. The two sides of the core slump to the ground and begin twirling around. Quite unlike other cores, everyone cheers as they took down a horrifying abomination. Their reputation is going to skyrocket. Jin, however, is focused on one of the core halves, seeing how strange it is. As they continue celebrating, they don't see a woman with red hair who is staring at them. The golden bug sons, Derek and Cedric in the end, were no different from their father. Such poor things. How they could be so utterly incompetent and useless. She can't really believe it. Suddenly, as she continues crying, she sees that the man who fought the abomination is kicking one of the core halves in his hand, and wonders why he is taking the internal core. What is he going to do with it? Thank you for watching. See you next time.